Peace, brothers and sisters. My name is Brother Marcus. My reader today is Brother Godfrey. This is the Bible in plain view. Today's lesson will be faithful men of God. We're going to open it up actually with the definition of faithful. And Brother Godfrey, could you go ahead and read that for me?
Loyalty, constant and steadfast.
Loyal, constant, which means always, and steadfast. This is what it means to be faithful according to the definition. But let's see what the Bible says. Hebrews 11:1 is where we're going next.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Right.
For by it the elders obtain a good report.
By faith, our elders, the prophets, our ancestors who obtained a good report, they had faith. They had to have faith. Go ahead.
Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the words of God.
See, through faith, we didn't see God create the world, but yet we believe it. So we got faith that he did because that's what his word says. Go ahead.
So that things which are seen were not made of things which do not appear.
Jump down to verse 6.
But without faith it is impossible to please him.
Without faith, it is impossible to please God. To be a faithful man of God, you have to have faith or you can't please him. These men wouldn't have been counted for nothing if they didn't have faith. They would have never been able to please the Lord, no matter what they did. Go ahead.
For he that cometh to God must believe that he is.
You got to believe that God is. Go ahead.
And that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
And also, believing in him, you also have to believe that he will be a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So if you're not diligently seeking the Lord, you're not a faithful servant of the Lord. None of the men in the Bible who was counted as faithful was slothful in business with the Lord. They all sought him diligently. They all put forth great works. They all sought the Lord very hard through all types of trials and tribulations. They went through it all because they believed in the end result and the end reward that the Lord would bring upon all flesh. Go ahead. Matter of fact, hold on. Give me a second. We're going to jump back to Psalms 119 and verse 13. And we're going to find out how do we know if we are faithful servants or faithful men or faithful women of God today. And we're going to read into a couple of our prophets and a couple of our examples to see how do we stack up. Give me Psalms 119 and verse 13.
With my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies, as much as in all riches.
See?
I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways.
Right. So you're going to have respect unto the Lord's ways. With your lips, you're going to confess. If you have faith, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to be sitting out here saying, okay, well, I kind of believe in God. Well, if you do believe in God, through your faith, you're going to show that. You're going to do something. You see, these people were speaking. So for you to sit up there and say that you don't have to do anything to show your faith, why is he saying that if you have faith, you're going to speak his word? We're going to jump to 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 1. We're going to find out how God feel about it. For all those who saying that you can just, call on God and your faith can be whatever you think it is. Give me 1 Corinthians 4 and 1.
Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ and stewards of the ministries of God. Mysteries of God. Moreover, it is required in stewards
that a man, go ahead.
That a man be found faithful.
Right, so you can't be a servant of God if you're not faithful. You can't. No man, everybody who thinks that they're serving the Lord, if you're not counted as faithful, then you're not serving the Lord. We're going to find out what does it mean to be faithful, though. We read the definition of faithful means loyal, constant, and steadfast. That means you holding true. That's what a lot of these people did in this, or a lot of the prophets did in the scriptures. Give me 2 John 1 and 6. 2 John 1 and 6. I'm at chapter 1, verse 6.
All right, 2 John 1, verse 6.
Matter of fact, give me 1 John 2 and 3. Go ahead.
And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments.
Right. So if you're thinking that you know the Lord, see, if you're a servant of the Lord, you know the Lord. But if you're thinking that you know him and you're not keeping his commandments, you don't know the Lord. Period. Go to 1 John, go to 2 John chapter 1, verse 6. We'll make it real plain. Go ahead.
And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is a commandment that, as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in it.
These are the commandments of God. If you're a faithful servant, you're going to walk in these commandments. If you don't have no faith, then you're not going to keep his commandments. It's really that simple. Give me Psalms 31 and verse 23. Go ahead.
O love the Lord, all ye saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentiful rewarded the proud doer.
So we read earlier that if you got faith, you believe that Christ is a rewarder of them that serve him. And we just read that if you're a servant of the Lord, then you're going to keep his commandments. And we just read again, O love the Lord, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful. So if you love him, you're going to keep his commandments, and you know that you are faithful, and he's going to preserve you, and he rewardeth the proud doer of his commandments, of his will. Hurry, come on, bro. Let's go to Psalms 101 and verse 6. It's really not hard to know if you a faithful man of God or a faithful woman. Like you just got to keep God's commandments. You just got to know that you're doing the things that he commanded you to do under all circumstances. Go ahead, pick it up.
Mine eye shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me.
He that walketh in a perfect way shall serve the Lord.
Right.
If you have faith, you're going to come to a state where you understand that you have to walk in a perfect way to be his servant. You're not comfortable being any old kind of servant to the Lord because you're not really faithful now. You kind of lukewarm. You kind of faithful, but you're not faithful at all. I'm not even going to say that. You're not faithful at all. Pretty much that's what the Lord is saying. It's either you are or you aren't. Give me Job. Give me Job. Give me Job 2. And give me verse 3. Pick it up at verse 3. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man?
So Job was perfect and upright in the Lord's eyes. Go ahead.
One that feared God.
Now the Lord is asking Satan, have you considered Job? Go ahead.
And escheweth evil.
Right.
And still he holdeth fast his integrity.
Right. So Job holdeth fast his integrity to the Lord. His integrity was his faith. He never turned his back from the Lord as far as I can read at this point right here. Job was all about it. No matter what he was put through, no matter what he came up against, he stood fast in the Lord and held his faith. Go ahead.
Although thou movest me against him to destroy him.
So Satan moved God against Job to destroy him. Satan was accusing Job all day. God said, okay, place hands on him and we're going to see what happens. Go ahead. But Job never, no matter what Satan did, Job never gave up his integrity. He never showed that he was an unfaithful servant. Go ahead.
Verse 4, and Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man had will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Right, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life.
Go ahead.
So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sores, boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity?
Dost thou still retain thy integrity? Is he still faithful unto the Lord right now? What Job say?
Curse God and die.
His wife say.
Curse God and die.
His wife told him to his face, curse God and die. Job didn't do it in this moment. Jump down to Job chapter 31, verse 33. See, no matter what you go through, you got to be able to stand faithful with the Lord. Whether you just going through it in your normal life or you got people on the outside coming in trying to tear you down. Your enemies trying to break you down. It's going to be things that's coming up against you to push you away from the Lord. No matter how bad it get, you have to be ready to remain faithful under all circumstances, like Job was. Or you're not going to be able to make it in the end. God is going to put us through certain trials right now to make sure that we're ready and we have that understanding of what it means to be faithful men, faithful servants, true, that is ready and seeking to walk in this perfect way. Go ahead, bro. Pick it up.
If I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding my iniquity in my bosom, did I fear a great multitude, or did the contempt of families terrify me?
Now, this is Job talking. Go ahead.
That I kept silence and went not out the door.
Jump down to verse 40.
Let thistles grow instead of wheat, and cockle instead of barley. The words of Job are ended.
So Job just got done boasting about himself, about how righteous he is. Go to the next chapter, pick it up at verse 1. Let me get that real fast.
So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes.
Now Job, after all the faith, he done held his faith, but in the end, he decided to be righteous in his own eyes. Now he gave up his integrity. He done went through all that and started boasting in himself and started acting like the Lord was unrighteous for the things that he put him through. In the very moment, no matter, Job went through probably more than any of us can handle, but it got to a point where he snapped. He done gave up the faith. And the Lord had to check him on that. But I ain't got time to read all that today, but I'm going to give you a little nugget of how the Lord feel about it. Go give me Proverbs 20:6. Go ahead.
Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man, who can find it?
See, Job then gave up his faith in that moment. He started talking about how good he was and forgot about how good the Lord was, like Job never committed a sin. Like Job was perfect and the Lord's not perfect. He gave up his faith in that moment. It take nothing but a second. Now, when you try to compare yourself to Job, I don't really think none of us can. He done went through hell and back, and he held it into the end where then he just started puffing himself up. Who can take it like Job? Can you? Go ahead, bro. Give me Hebrews 11:36. Go ahead.
And others had trials of cruel mockings.
Now, some of the other prophets and the other servants of God, they had trials too. They had trials of what? Read it again.
Of cruel mockings and scourgings.
What else?
Yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonment.
Right. Why? Because they served the Lord. Keep going.
They were stoned. They were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted.
They even became poor to hold on to the faith in the Lord. No matter what they went through, they hold on to their faith. Go ahead.
Tormented, of whom the world was not worthy.
Are you ready to be tormented to keep your faith? You can't pick and choose. We all thinking great tribulation. No, what if the Lord wants you to be poor? What if that's his will for you? Are you going to stand by the Lord, or are you going to say, no, I'm going to go get this $1 million. I'm going to go be rich. I'm tired of being poor. Keep going, bro.
They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth.
You ready to wander in the mountains and in the deserts and the dens and the caves? Is your faith that strong yet? Now, I'm only asking this because I'm trying to invoke the thought in you to make you think, I got to get my faith there or I'm not going to make it. It's really that simple. And it's really, we have to grow. We can't get stagnant. We can't get still or too still at all in this faith. We got to keep growing. We got to keep moving forward. Go ahead, bro.
And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise.
Right.
God having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect.
Right. Go ahead. Give me 1 Peter 4:1. You got to hold that faith under all circumstances. We're going to find out a little bit more about it. Give me 1 Peter 4:1. Go ahead.
For as much then as Christ had suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that had suffered in the flesh had ceased from sin.
See, Christ, or you could say, okay, Christ was God. Of course, he had faith in the Father, so he did his will. But nonetheless, he still had faith. He had faith all the way into the cross. Give me 1 Peter 1:7.
That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ.
So you got to understand that your faith is going to have to go through a trial, and it's going to be a fiery one. All of us must prove ourselves worthy. Why? Because even Christ, our master, had to go through it. And are you above the master? No. So you're going to have to go through the same things he went through. You have to be ready for this. You have to. You have no other option. Give me James 1 and 2.
My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience.
So what it's doing is it's making you more patient. It's going to make you be able to deal with some of the heavier things. So you might be going through some light burdens right now, some light trials. The Lord is just growing your faith. If your faith don't make it to the point where it need to be, you might come up against some opposition where Satan is accusing you, like how Satan accused Job, and you might not be able to stand. And then the Lord got to bust you upside your head. Or you might even become reprobate like we read earlier. You got to make sure that you have this faith in the Lord. It's one thing to believe. It's another thing to believe and serve. Faith without works is dead. You can't just say, I believe in God and I'm going to call on his name. You don't even know who you serve. What does he expect from you? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 4, but let patience have a perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Then we read that earlier, that the faithful servant is going to strive to be perfect. That's your mindset. You so faithful, you so loyal to God that you understand that I want to do my best beyond the best, which is perfection. As he was, so are we in this world. Give me 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Real fast. Go ahead, pick it up.
Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves.
Examine yourself, whether ye be in the faith, and prove yourself. If the Lord said faith without works are dead, and you're not keeping his commandments, you're not keeping the things, the works that he told you to do, are you in the faith? Mm-hmm. Examine yourself. Read it again. Go ahead.
Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates?
If you don't got faith at the end, that means that you don't want reprobate at the end. Like that means that you just never came to the goodness of the Lord. You never turned around. Your whole life, you just walked straight reprobate to the Lord, to his way. No faith ever. Give me 2 Thessalonians 3 and 1. I got it on my phone, that's why. Bro.
Nuts, man.
Bro. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 1.
3 and 1, right, here we go. Sorry, bro.
Second.
Finally, my brethren, pray for us, that the word of the Lord may have free course and be glorified, even as it is with you.
Keep reading.
And that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men.
Right.
For all men have not faith.
Not all men got faith.
But the Lord is faithful.
But hold on. But the Lord is faithful. Not all these men have faith, so you understand that you need to be delivered from them. That's why we asking each other, that's why we need to pray for one another, because while you out here dealing with non-faithful men, guess what? The spirits that's over them is going to be tormenting you. They're going to be doing you one. They're going to, because they don't have the spirit of the Lord. They have not faith, but God is faithful. God has a promise unto you that if you endure these things, your reward in the end for striving towards the perfection, towards the goal, no matter what you're going through, no matter if your kids got killed, no matter if your house got burnt down, no matter if you lost your job and now you poor and now the Lord got you in the cave, he got you in a box on the side of the street or in the trash can, no matter what you're going through. It don't matter who higher than you, who got more than you. Don't look at that. Look at you and your relationship with God, what God got in front of you to deal with, and make sure that you walk into the best of your ability. That's faith. Not wavering just because you got to be content with whatever state that you in, or you're not going to be able to hold on to your faith. Your faith is going to work that patience. Let it work out. Don't be in such a rush to say, okay, I'm done with this. You know, it's too much going on. I need this. I need to do that. I can't. No, you got to have faith and patience. Okay, keep reading.
Verse 3. But the Lord is faithful, who shall establish you.
The Lord going to establish you. Go ahead.
And keep you from evil.
He going to keep you from evil, but you might have to go through some evil at first. Like Job says, should we receive only good at the Lord's hand and not evil? No. You're going to get both. You deserve it. Like Brother Arthur taught, Lord, like last Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? You deserve it. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And we have confidence in the Lord touching you, that ye both do and will do the things which we command you.
The things that they were commanding you to do were the commandments of the Lord. They're trying to make you a faithful servant. You're going to keep all them commandments no matter what. Like your life on the line. Like somebody got a gun in your head right now. That's the type of time your faith need to be on. Perfect always. Go ahead.
And the Lord direct your hearts into the love of God and into the patient waiting for Christ.
And what's the love of God? Keeping his commandments. Go ahead.
Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you would draw yourselves from every brother that walketh disorderly, and not after the tradition which he received of us. For yourselves know how ye ought to follow us, for we behave not ourselves disorderly among you.
So they didn't behave. Like they set an example too. So when people seen them, they could tell that these apostles are faithful men of God. So when people see you, how should they be able to tell that you're a faithful man of God? One, you should be keeping the Lord's commandments. When they come to ask you a question or they ask you, why do you do this or why do you do that? Why are you keeping these holy days? Why are you not celebrating Christmas? You should be able to sit up there and tell them straight up, like, I serve the Lord. And they should be able to see the faith in you and that you keep his commandments, and that should be it. We don't walk disorderly among other people. If somebody's walking disorderly, most likely they're not a faithful servant of the Lord. We're not out here, trying to show off for people. We're out here trying to bring people to the truth, because that's what we're called to do. Give me Acts 24. And let me get verse 14. Let me get there. I'm talking trash. Give me, hold up. Yeah, let me get, pick it up from verse 10.
Then Paul, after that the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered, For as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself.
Go ahead.
Because that thou mayest understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for to worship. And they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up the people, neither in the synagogues nor in the city.
So this takes us back to the not walking disorderly among people. Now, Paul is among people who not really serving the Lord the right way. He could have went up in there and start, telling people off like, y'all not serving the Lord right. Y'all need to get y'all. They not repping Jesus up in here. They not doing right. Now, but he didn't. Go ahead.
Neither can they prove the thing whereof they now accuse me.
And they lying on him because they was expecting him to come through like an unfaithful man of God, but he didn't. He came through not walking disorder. He came through peacefully, just like how Christ would have came through. Go ahead.
But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I, the God of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets.
So if you're a faithful servant of the Lord, you believe all things that are written, no matter what's written in this book, in this Bible right here. Now the pastor say, this is my Bible, and I believe it. Go ahead and read it, and let's see if you really believe what it say. Because there's a lot of things that they say that they believe in that they really don't, like the Sabbath day. You know what I'm saying? Like putting up idols in the church. They're not faithful men of God. They're not. We can go through all the prophets in the Old Testament. We can even go through the apostles, and we can see that they kept the Sabbath day. They didn't set up any idols. They served the Lord faithfully. They did everything that he asked them to do. Everything. That's what a faithful servant is. If you're not ready to put yourself in a position where God comes first all the time, no matter what, you're not going to make it. You're not going to be counted as faithful. So that's why God is going to put you through these trials that we spoke of. He has to, because he's not doing it to push you away. He's not doing it to make it seem like, okay, now life is too hard and God is done with you, because that's how Job started feeling. He's doing it to get you to start seeing your flaws, so you can say, okay, I know I got to grow my faith now. Don't be so quick to quit. It's a lot of people who come and they start serving the Lord, and then, you know, they go a little ways and they start thinking too much about what's going on around them, and they give up the faith. You was never truly faithful then. But not even that. You didn't give your faith time to, you didn't put enough patience on your faith. You didn't have patience to wait on the Lord. So therefore, now you're back out there in the world. Lord willing, you come back, and now you're not reprobate. God forbid. We're going to go back to 1 Samuel.
What chapter?
Chapter 2. I wanted to get where's mom? All right, pick it up at chapter 3. I don't know why you write it down. It came to pass at the time you all laid down this place. Oh no, pick it up at chapter 3, verse 1. 2 minutes.
And the children of and the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no open vision.
I mean, the word of the Lord was very little at this time. Evidently, it wasn't a lot of faithful people with the Lord going around. It was very few. Mm-hmm. But jump down to verse 3.
And the lamp of God, went out in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was. And Samuel was laid down to sleep. That the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli, and said, Here am I.
Jump down to verse 7.
Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him.
Jump down to verse 9.
Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place.
Give me verse 10, go ahead.
And the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth.
Now, if Samuel didn't have faith in what this servant of God who was precious in the land, Eli, had said to him, if he didn't believe what the word of the Lord told him to do, he would have never called on the name of the Lord, and he would have never been able to serve him. You have to believe too. That's another part of faith. We talk about the works too, but a big thing is believing that God can do anything. All things are possible. This man was hearing the word of the Lord, but he didn't understand what he was hearing. But then he believed that he actually could, and therefore, because he had faith